you know, part of me actually prefers college football more than the actual NFL. I don't know what it is, but there is so much excitement in college football. Um, and obviously, the excitement with this Badgers team this year is there are no expectations. So, this could either be an absolute fail of a season or an absolute win of a season. And honestly, I have no idea. Well, we got a lot to talk about, that's for sure.
Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, about now, about now, about now.
What is poppin', y'all? It is your man, Cloutboy Bales. Welcome to another episode of Wisco Sports. For today's topic, we're going to be talking about the Badgers, and of course, I'll end the video with my schedule prediction and what record they will end up with this season. So, anyways, very interesting what is, I think, going to happen for this Badgers team, because this team is a bit of a wild card. There aren't really many hot teams in the Big Ten West, so of course, I think obviously the Badgers are the favorite to win it this year, but they were the favorite to win it the last 2 years, and unfortunately, a lot of things, unfortunately, were disappointing. So, I really want to see them do some things, but I don't know what really will happen. There are so many things. Obviously, we lost so many people on defense. It's going to be really hard to see who really steps up. The offense also is another issue because, well, we did lose a lot of our veteran wide receivers and obviously some other people, but this is going to be very tough to determine where we are as a team. So anyways, first game of the season is on Saturday against Illinois State at home. Very excited to see how they do. They should win this one. This should be an easy win. Not necessarily sure on what else will happen, but I think that they'll be able to win the first game of the season. I mean, there's nothing really. I'm not too worried about it, but obviously, let's talk a little bit about what I'm expecting from people this season. So let's start with Graham Mertz. Of course, he's going into his third year of being an official starter. Obviously, the redshirt junior has struggled at times. He's also done good at times, but he just hasn't really stepped up and was the player that we thought he was. After that Week 1 win against Illinois 2 years ago, where he threw the 5 touchdowns and everyone was saying, oh, he's God and the best thing we've ever had, then all of a sudden he just crumpled, didn't look the same, and he still hasn't really been the same ever since. Now, a lot of it is maybe his receivers aren't that good, and yes, the offensive line was terrible last year. I mean, we all know that. But obviously, we really need to see Graham Mertz step it up and really play to, and obviously have that level. Our running game, I think, is going to be a fantastic running game because we're getting all these people back healthy. But when Graham Mertz is in there, he's got to be able to step up and not make terrible decisions. I want to be able to see him do some things, and it's going to be very interesting to see how he does this season. I'm excited. Maybe we're going to see an emergence out of him. I don't know. Maybe this is a whole new receiving core. No Danny Davis, no Kendrick Pryor, no the tight end on Jake Ferguson. No, none of those guys. So a lot of newer, younger people. So I don't know if Graham Mertz is going to be the same that he was last year, or maybe he'll step up and actually have a better season. I don't know, but that's how I feel. For the running back situation, Braylon Allen, who broke out last season, he was 17 years old last year, which is crazy to think about. He's only 18. Dude's got a future. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Braylon Allen, what a season he had last year. Also, Chez Mellusi was doing really good last year up until his injury. He's back. So, Braylon Allen, Chez Mellusi, and don't forget about Isaac Orendo, who started the season out actually pretty good, and then he got an injury, didn't see him in all the rest of the season. So, we have 3 running backs that are really good. Jackson Acker, who was also a guy that showed some promise in some scrimmage time, is now playing fullback just so he could get on the field. So pretty much we have a lot of running back situations and I think some blocking situations, and I think we got a really good running back situation. Braylon Allen is going to have a great season. Obviously it does depend on the offensive line, as I'll get to now. The starting offensive line will likely be Jack Nelson, Tyler Beach, Joe Tittman, Michael Furtney, and Riley Mann. Of course, it's obviously some people got to really got to step up. I think I did see that Josh Seltzner is out for the season, so that's unfortunate news. Also, Chase Wolf, the backup quarterback's out for the season, so if Graham Mertz goes down, they're likely having to go to Deacon Hill, who's the only other quarterback that really got any snaps. No one else got any snaps, so pretty much you're at a really thin situation at quarterback if Mertz goes down with an injury. At wide receiver, Chimere DK is going to be your number 1. He's the guy that got the most time last 2 seasons. Obviously, he wasn't a starter, but now he will be. Other guys that I think could step up, Skylar Bell. He's a guy that's really stepped up, the freshman. Marcus Allen, who another freshman can step up. Transfer Keontez Lewis could maybe be another guy that steps up. Dean Ingram, who was one of our corners last year, switched to wide receiver because, of course, his dad is now the new offensive coordinator, Bobby Ingram, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So, obviously, new offense is going to be new look, so that might be different, but I think the offense will do pretty well. On the defensive side, we lost so many people. It's going to be really hard to replace some of the people that we lost, like Leo Chanel, Jack Sanborn. Those guys are really hard, irreplaceable people. So, and our entire secondary was all seniors too. So, pretty much, it's going to be all new people. So, starting with the obviously defense, Keanu Benton's the only returner or nose tackle. Obviously, this is his senior year, so he's expected to have a great season. Isaiah Mullins, who got some playing time, he likely will start at one of the defensive ends. And right now, Rodis Johnson is going to likely be the other guy. So, don't know much about Mullins and Johnson, but maybe they'll be some huge contributors. Offensive linebackers, Nick Herbig is a guy that honestly I say could be up for Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, a lot of the plays went to Sanborn and Burks and Chanel, but Herbig was under the shadows, and he was just so good last season. No one even saw him, and I think he's going to have a huge breakout season. I'm excited to see how he does. CJ Getz is likely going to be the other outside linebacker. He's the only other guy that had any experience, so we'll probably see him do some much. Inside linebacker, it's going to be very tough right now. Mema Najongmeta and Jordan Turner are likely the 2 guys that are going to be at that position. Those were the 2 that did get the most playing time last season when obviously we were losing or winning. Obviously, that's how it was. In our secondary, I necessarily wouldn't say we have the greatest secondary, but it's full of a lot of transfers. Jay Shaw, the transfer out of UCLA, will likely be quarterback number 1. Likely to see him do a lot. Cedric Dort, another guy, is likely going to be getting some playing time, another transfer. Alexander Smith, the senior, is likely going to be another corner. And then our safety, John Torchio, he did get some playing time last season, but obviously he's officially our full-time safety. And Hunter Wooler will be our other full-time safety because Travion Blacklock, who was supposed to be the starter, tore his ACL, so he's out for the season. Obviously, Justin Clark, another transfer, could get some playing time. Samara Melvin, who's still on, a lot of people forgot about him, still on the team. And Kamau Lato is a guy that can really make some plays, I think, as well. I think we have a very young defense, but don't forget Jim Leonard is one of the best defensive coordinators in college football. So, of course, that's how it is. So, honestly, I'm not really having any expectations, but I think Braylon Allen is going to have another great season, and our best player of the year will likely be Nick Herbig. I don't know who else will really step up, but I think, obviously, I have trust in Jim Leonard, and I think, our defense will do fantastic, as they always do. So it will be interesting to see how people do. So let's look over the schedule. I figure I make my schedule predictions and just see how I think they'll do. So week 1 against Illinois State, likely they're winning that one because it's the opening game against just an average team. Oh, I'm sorry. Another one, special teams. Andy Vudovic will be our punter, and Vito Calaveroso will be our kicker. I'm sorry, I almost forgot to mention our special teams, but hopefully those guys do some good stuff on special teams. Calaveroso was a transfer or something, so that's obviously good. So Wisconsin should beat Illinois State to start the season 1-0. That's obviously very important. Next week, we play Washington State at home. That's a good game. They should win that one. I don't know if Washington State's slated to have a good season or not, but at home, Wisconsin should win. And then New Mexico State, Badgers should win that one as well. So they'll start the season 3-0. That's a good start. Then there will be a primetime game on ABC. They'll be playing Ohio State. That's going to be very tough in Ohio State. I'm going to say they lose because I don't believe they've ever won in Ohio State before, so that's just one of the hardest places to actually win. So I'll say they lose one game. Next week, they play Illinois. They should beat Illinois. They play in Northwestern. Now, I know in Northwestern is a very, very tough place to play, but I know Northwestern isn't as good as they were in the past, so I'd say the Badgers actually will win a close game there. Wisconsin, Michigan State. I say Michigan State will win this one, obviously on the road. Nothing to really be concerned. I mean, this isn't really a concerning loss. Purdue at home, that's homecoming. They should win that one. Maryland at home, they should win that one. Iowa on the road, that one's going to be very tough. I wouldn't necessarily say, do I think Iowa is going to be a good team or not? They did lose a lot of people. Iowa, as a very stale offense, I'm not necessarily positive on how they do, but I say Wisconsin wins this one because I think Iowa's offense just isn't going to progress. They didn't last year. They didn't really, I don't know. Nebraska on the road. Everyone's hyping up Nebraska to be this really good team this season. Haven't seen much promise. I say Wisconsin wins this one. And then finally at home, Wisconsin will take back the axe and beat Minnesota. So pretty much they'll only lose to Ohio State and Michigan, is my opinion. There could be another loss in there, but for the looks of it, I mean, I don't know. I'd say, yeah, like as I said, 10-2 is a pretty reasonable record. And I feel like if they win the West, they'll go to the Big Ten Championship only to get destroyed by Michigan or Ohio State. So pretty much, there's no expectations, but I want to see the Badgers actually do a lot better than people expect. We have hard opponents, so that will say something, but we'll see how they do. It'll be interesting. But obviously, if you like what you see, comment below, subscribe with your thoughts, and as always, go Badgers. I hopefully will be at some games this season, so that'll be exciting. So, take care. Obviously, I'll be covering a lot more Packers this week and next week leading up to the season, so we'll see what happens. So anyways, take care. Go Badgers. We'll see you next next time.